Hey y'all, welcome to Paige's Perspective, where I help you find your inner strength to cope with life. Let's talk about stress today. So I was having a conversation with a friend this week about gentle self-care and how many of us may not be fully prepared to handle massive self-care changes at once. You know, let's say that you get into an intense workout program with pretty strict eating rules, or maybe you're wanting to work on all categories of self-care at once. It can actually be more overwhelming to go balls to the wall instead of listening to your bodies and recognizing when it's appropriate. So we did an episode on gentle self-care. It was episode 77. It's really great to help those who feel like they have no idea where to begin on self-care. And I'm mentioning this because it kind of goes hand in hand with what the topic is today, which is stress. So when you hear the word stress, what do you think of? For most of us, it's exhaustion, it's overwhelm, it's burnout, it's unhealthy. You know, we may feel like we're stuck when we're stressed, or that we lack coping skills or whatever. You know, when we think of stress, we think, ooh, stress is bad. It's not good. And for good reason. Many of us have lived with the kind of stress that harms our health and leaves us in survival mode. But here's something that we don't talk about enough, is that not all stress is bad. There's a kind of stress that actually strengthens you. It motivates you. It makes you more resilient. Psychologists call it eustress. And then there's that unsafe stress we're talking about, the kind that depletes you. It keeps you on edge. It damages your health over time. The key is learning the difference, because your body doesn't always know it. So we're going to go through that during this episode. I'm going to break this down as much as I possibly can, and I hope it's going to be somewhat helpful for you, because personally, I found this very helpful. So what is eustress? What is it? It's stress that's productive. It pushes you. It doesn't harm you. Think about working out. Okay. Your muscles experience stress. There's tiny tears that happen and then they heal back stronger. That's eustress. It's the same with preparing for a presentation or getting on a call, learning a new skill, or even having an honest conversation in a relationship. You know, it's doing hard things. These are the hard things we are referring to when we say that you can do hard things. Your body feels that rush, that physical sensation of your heart racing, your palms sweating, your stomach going in turns. But once it's over, you come out stronger and more capable. You actually feel better after the fact. But here's the tricky part. Those physical symptoms of eustress feel exactly like unsafe stress. Your nervous system reacts the same way. The racing heart, shallow breathing, tense muscles, the sweaty palms. If you've lived in survival mode for a long time, your body may think that all stress is danger. And that means even something healthy like a workout or trying something new can feel threatening. The difference comes after. With eustress, once the challenge ends, your body typically calms down. It recovers, and you usually feel a sense of growth or even pride. You feel some sense of relief. With unsafe stress, that release rarely comes. Your body stays stuck in that high alert. So let's talk about the dangers of unsafe stress. So unsafe stress is the kind that breaks you down instead of building you up. It's chronic. It's unpredictable. It's usually tied to things that feel out of your control. So for example, living with addiction or emotionally instability in your home. This is unsafe because it creates unpredictability. You never know if today will be calm or chaotic, and that uncertainty keeps your nervous system on constant high alert. We crave structure. We crave stability. That's so important for our bodies and our nervous system. So when we're in these situations where we don't know what's coming, it's going to cause more unhealthy stress or unsafe stress. Another example is going to be walking on eggshells. Never sure what mood you're going to face. So this is unsafe because your body is forced into hypervigilance. You start scanning for tone of voice, body language, subtle signs of danger. And over time, this rewires your brain to anticipate threat, even in safe situations. There's another example is going to be financial stress. Okay, this is unsafe because your survival needs like food, shelter, or stability feel threatened. Your nervous system interprets this as ongoing danger, leaving little capacity for growth, rest, or even joy and happiness within your life. Repeated betrayals or manipulation. This is what we discuss on our podcast all the time. It is unsafe because trust is one of the most fundamental human needs, and it gets shattered in these relationships. And without safety and connection, you feel psychologically exposed. You're always bracing for the next blow. Another example is going to be unclear or ever-changing rules in a relationship. So this is unsafe because inconsistent boundaries and shifting expectations leave you without stable ground. This goes back to me saying that we need stability and we need clearness and clarity within our relationships and our life. The nervous system thrives on predictability. And when that's missing, that stress can become toxic. Another example is going to be ongoing criticism, blame, gaslighting. Again, we talk about this a lot within our episodes. This is unsafe because your sense of reality gets attacked. It creates internal chaos. You stop trusting your perceptions, yourself. And that over time erodes confidence and keeps you, locked in this fight or flight survival mode. Exposure to aggressive environments, yelling, threats, or violence. I'm talking about consistent yelling. We're humans. Sometimes we yell in our homes. It's just going to happen. I'm hoping you can figure out the difference within the way your body reacts in your home whenever somebody yells. If it's consistently yelling, it's going to do damage over time. So this is unsafe because even if physical harm doesn't happen, the perceived threat is enough to activate your fight or flight system as if you're in danger of survival. So over time, this level of activation is going to be damaging to your body. Isolation and lack of support connections. We're human. We are meant to be in supportive, safe relationships. We can regulate stress through safe relationships that are safe for us. So when you're cut off from those, your stress has nowhere to go. And loneliness itself is now recognized as a chronic health risk. So we're humans, guys. We're supposed to have connection. Again, this is safe connection. This is not unsafe connection. So then when we become lonely, it can impact our health over time. So the danger is that unsafe stress doesn't let your body rest. Okay, your cortisol level stays elevated. Your nervous system never gets the message of like, hey, you're safe now, you can relax. Instead, it stays in that overdrive state of mind and it's wearing you down physically and emotionally. And over time, that's going to lead to some, unhealthy things that happen within your body. Your immune system might, or it can lead to immune system suppression, sleep problems, fatigue, brain fog. There's higher risk of depression, anxiety, heart disease, and emotionally, again, you lose trust in yourself. You feel unsafe in your own body and you can get stuck in that survival mode. And it's not just uncomfortable, it's actually harmful because it rewires your nervous system to expect danger everywhere. So let's talk about eustress again. Let's go to the benefits of eustress. So this is the productive stress, and it comes with huge benefits. So physically, it strengthens your body. Exercise is the clearest example I can come up with. When you lift weights or you go for a run or you dance or you do something, you're putting controlled stress on your body. Your muscles are breaking down and then they repair stronger. Your heart rate goes up, but then when it comes back down, your cardiovascular system is healthier. The temporary stress plus recovery is what makes your body more resilient. So mentally, let's look at the mental part. Eustress builds your brain. Neuroscience shows that learning something new literally creates new neural pathways. When you're stretched to solve a problem or master a skill, your brain adapts. That's how you stay sharp and you keep growing. Without challenge, the brain stays stagnant. Eustress builds confidence. Every time you face something hard and come out on the other side, your brain remembers, I can handle this. I've got this. I can do this. And that's resilience. It's a bank account of proof that you are capable, even when things feel scary or uncertain. Motivation also comes from eustress. So deadlines, goals, and even healthy conflict gives us urgency and purpose. They push us to show up, problem solve, and adapt in ways that comfort never could. Growth doesn't happen in ease. It happens when we lean into discomfort just enough to learn. So here's the thing. Without eustress, life gets stagnant. You feel flat, unmotivated, sometimes depressed because nothing is stretching you forward. But too much unsafe stress, on the other hand, makes life crushing and unbearable. I've been there before. It is not fun to be in that position. So the sweet spot is where you reduce unsafe stress and you make room for eustress, because with the right amount, life feels meaningful. You're growing. You're not just surviving. So when we encourage self-care and feeding each category, this is why. This is what we're trying to accomplish. It's eustress. And it feels hard because you may think it's stressful, which yeah, it is, but it's productive stress. It's healthy stress. It's necessary stress. So how do we tell the difference? There's the $1 million question. All right, here's the tricky thing. Both eustress and unsafe stress feel the exact same in your body. Okay. The physical symptoms, your heart races, your chest tightens, your stomach flips. And that's because both kinds of stress trigger adrenaline and cortisol. So the better question isn't how do I feel right now? Because in the moment, it all feels the same. It's what's the bigger picture here? So let me break it down with some examples. What's the context? If the stress comes from something meaningful or goal-oriented, that's usually eustress. So for example, you're nervous before a job interview, but it's because you want to grow in your career. You push yourself in a workout and it hurts, but you know it's building strength. Setting a boundary, it feels scary, it feels stressful, but you know that it's going to impact you in the future in a positive way. So if the stress comes from chaos or threat, it's unsafe stress. So for example, you feel anxious every time you hear your partner's car pull up because you don't know what mood they'll be in, or you're stressed not because you're challenged, but because you're bracing for impact. The next question is, how long does it last? So eustress is temporary. It usually has a beginning and an end. So a presentation at work, the stress ramps up. It peaks while you're present, but then it comes down once it's over. A difficult but necessary conversation with a friend. It's stressful in the moment, but then it's done, and then the air is clearer. Unsafe stress feels endless. It doesn't shut off. This is typically what happens when we are in survival mode. So, for example, financial instability that keeps you up at night month after month, or living with ongoing manipulation or lies. There's no finish line. It's just constant tension, and your body is constantly being reminded of that. So the next question you ask is, what happens after? So with eustress, your body eventually recovers. You calm down and you often feel a sense of growth or pride, or you just feel relieved. After a hard run, your body is tired, but you sleep better that night. After tackling a project deadline, you feel proud and more confident for your next challenge. With unsafe stress, recovery doesn't happen. You stay in high alert. So after an argument with your partner, you can't relax. You replay the fight. You wait for the next blow up. And then maybe after weeks of instability, your sleep is broken and you feel constantly drained. Like that's a sign that there's unsafe stress going on within your life. The next question is going to be, does it rebuild resilience or erode it? So eustress builds capacity over time. For example, each workout leaves you sore, but after weeks, you're stronger. Each new skill that you are learning, either at work or personal, it feels overwhelming at first, but eventually you feel capable and proud. Unsafe stress is going to chip away at you. So constant criticism or gaslighting typically leaves you doubting yourself more and more. Living in the chaos makes you less able to handle even small challenges because you're already maxed out. So the key isn't what stress feels like in the moment, because in the moment it feels the same. The key is the bigger picture: context, duration, recovery, and long-term impact. Eustress challenges your body. It challenges you, but it builds you up. Unsafe stress typically drains you with no recovery in sight. So how do we manage stress? You can't completely eliminate stress. That is not realistic, but you can manage it by reducing unsafe stress and leaning into eustress. So start small. Okay, this is where the gentle self-care episode can come into play. Start small. If exercise feels overwhelming, start with a short walk or a few minutes of stretching. Let your body relearn that not all stress is unsafe. It's a mental game of reassuring yourself that you are okay and this is healthy. Your brain will eventually catch up to your body. Then pair stress with recovery. So after something challenging, intentionally calm yourself, calm your system. This is where you can have some deep breathing, maybe some journaling, or you rest, or even celebrate what you accomplish. That's what I like to do. If I do something that is very stressful and then I get it done, the recovery part is going to be, I did this. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So I'm training my brain that what I did wasn't that difficult. And over time, it becomes easier. The next thing you can do is reframe it. When you feel the symptoms of stress, remind yourself this might be eustress. My body feels worked up, but I'm safe. This is strengthening me. I did this a lot whenever I was working out. When I was in survival mode and I started working out, I would get panic attacks because my body did not know the difference between eustress and harmful stress. It just looked at stress the same. So I literally had to think myself, okay, is this positive, productive stress, or is this unsafe stress? And over time, my brain rewired towards like, all right, this is good for you. You need to continue doing it. It got easier over time. So cut back unsafe stress. Cutting back unsafe stress isn't just about the little adjustments like saying no to extra commitments or unfollowing people who drain you online. For some of you, it means taking an honest look at the environment you're living in. If your daily life is filled with walking on eggshells, constant chaos, repeated betrayals, emotional manipulation, that's not just stress, that's unsafe stress. And no amount of deep breathing or bubble baths or working out will undo the damage if you're still sitting in the fire. Sometimes cutting back unsafe stress means drawing firmer boundaries with people who refuse to change. Sometimes it means physically removing yourself from a toxic environment so your nervous system can finally breathe. This isn't about giving up too soon or not being strong enough. It's about recognizing that your body and mind cannot heal if they never feel safe. You can't build resilience while being constantly torn down. So, reducing unsafe stress might be as simple as saying no to a draining commitment, or as serious as realizing it's time to step away from something that's keeping you in survival mode. Either way, the message is the same. You deserve to live in a space where recovery and growth are possible. The more practice you do with this, the more your nervous system learns to tell the difference. So, stress isn't the enemy. Guys, unsafe stress depletes you, eustress develops you. So the next time you feel that pressure rising, the heart racing, the tight chest, the sweaty palms, pause and ask, is this stress shaping me or is it breaking me? That one question can help you step away from what's unsafe and lean into what's productive. And little by little, that's how you'll reclaim your strength, your energy, and your life. If you're interested in digging deeper into your self-care, how your relationship may be impacting you, setting boundaries, and leaning more into eustress, we have our own program built with a licensed therapist. We have videos, worksheets, a weekly meeting with Matt and or me, and others going through the program. Sometimes surrounding yourself with those who understand what you're going through can be helpful in itself. So go to independentlystrong.com or twfo.com for more info. I believe once we recognize the source of the stress and if it's productive or harmful stress, we can make some pretty meaningful changes within our lives. I hope this is somewhat helpful. That's all I have for this week. Until next time, I'm Paige. Bye.